Welcome to This Week in Guns. This show is brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network and Patriot Patch Company. This podcast offers commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Jake Jalen, president of FRN. You make this show possible. That's right. You simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun radio like This Week in Guns. We have great panel this week, a last minute panel this week. Pulled some guys off the street. And we have Stephen Pope of the Off-Road Podcast. Hey, Stephen.
How's it going, Jake?
It's going great. Wow, the intro is so quiet. No one was like laughing or giggling like usual because you guys are true professionals here. We have Tony Simon. The second is for everyone. Hey, Tony, how you doing?
Hey, Jake, there goes your professionalism out the window. I'm here.
That's right. No, great having you back on. And we have first-timer Zane. Well, I didn't even verify how to pronounce your last name, so I'll go ahead and butcher it. Mangello?
Pretty close, Mangello.
Mangello, like Magellan, but Mangello.
That's it.
That's all right, Jake.
That's it.
Simplest of words.
All right, we just all
it happens. It's good to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Great to have you on. And the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual co-hosts and not necessarily sorry if you had an echo on Facebook. That should be gone now. Not necessarily the co-hosts or not necessarily official policy or position of the Firearms Radio Network and or their employers. Viewer discretion is advised, especially on live shows. I should really just pre-record the legal disclaimer so it's correct every time.
Oh, don't do that, man. You'll ruin so many drinking games.
That's right. I was going to have you guys send me a quick like pilot or something showing me that you can pronounce ambidextrous correctly.
If you pre-recorded the legal disclaimer, how would Ebbs be able to get in here and edit it every time he's on the show?
Right. Well, if he'd ever be on the show anymore, Ebbs. So, Patriot Patch Company helps make this episode possible. We have July Patch of the Month. There's still just a very few limited patches of this July patch that we will never run again. You'll never see these again. So if you want one, you need to join the Patriot Patch of the Month Club right now, patriotpatch.co. Also have some vinyl. We're doing some vinyl. Here's a I'm Your Huckleberry. Great for road rage incidents. Joking. But we have vehicle vinyl and also have some indoor vinyl. We have a big We the People indoor vinyl that you can put up in your man cave. patriotpatch.co. Top stories this week. Start with some positive news in Chicago. Positive news in Chicago having to do with guns. Don't hear that very often. Chicago woman that feared guns now trains others. So this lady's on the south side of Chicago, and she was a federal probation officer for 25 years. So she went unarmed for 25 years. So that's kind of crazy being a Chicago probation officer, being unarmed for 25 years, and she's still alive. And so she's an African-American woman who was afraid of guns all those years, working around the police force and everything. And it wasn't until she retired and I think she got divorced that she decided to take classes and learn how to safely and accurately carry a firearm, which she did. And she kind of fell in love with it. And then she kind of realized there wasn't anything in Chicago for women, let alone African-American women. And so she started up her own women's only gun club on the south side of Chicago. And they currently have 17 members and growing. So
that's crazy. She couldn't find something. She couldn't find something that, that worked. She couldn't find what she was looking for, so she went out of her way and created something like that. That's amazing. More people should do that.
My question is, I didn't have a chance to check out this article because, like Nick, you mentioned, kind of a last-minute panelist here. My question is, was there some sort of traumatic event that happened that caused her to change positions? And if so, that happens way too often. People learn way too late about this. Well, seems like a lot of times.
Last year, actually, I had a African-American woman from Philadelphia that was a parole officer that's unarmed and never carried a gun. And my class was the first time she shot a gun. So it happens, I guess, more than you think.
I believe it.
Well, the interesting thing to me about the article was that she was married to a police officer for 20 some odd years. So there was a gun in the house at some point.
Right. Yeah.
That might have been a traumatic experience. Who knows how that went down or how that ended, because there's a lot of soft shoe around there. Like, what made you change your mind and go get a gun?
True.
As a locksmith, as my regular job, and as many domestic disputes and everything that I've gone to from women who've been abused in relationships or who have their lives threatened after the relationship ends. Yeah. That's something that'll actually make you take that step and do something you never thought you'd do.
All right. Moving on to, possibly more positive news. ATF looking to repeal or replace laws.
Yay.
They could start with all of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, she better not repealing themselves.
How's this?
Well, that's the next step.
Put all your laws on an Excel-sketch and then shake the snot out of it. All right, that's where we start.
Here's where I'm kind of concerned with this. My concern is they're looking to repeal or replace. I'm concerned someone's going to say, "Oh, hey, look, we haven't raised a tax on an NFA item since 1934. Someone should look into that." That's what I'm concerned is going to actually happen.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because the article alluded to it being kind of a budget thing.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a real problem. Just because someone's doing what you think is something you like doesn't mean it's going to work out well for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see how the enforcers of the laws are looking at altering the law. That just doesn't make sense to me, how the branch of government that is assigned to enforce the law is looking at ways to repeal or replace it. I don't know. I guess that's a question for Adam, though.
Well, we were rolling with that white paper that they were talking about earlier this year that seems to be a dude who was trying to actually, become the head of the ATF eventually by doing some pro-gun butt kissing to the new president. And that might have kicked it off. But that doesn't seem to be the way it's really going. I don't know if this will work out well for us or not.
So it says the ATF is not publicly releasing any details on this yet, but a handful of organizations that attended have. The pro-gun groups, some of which often help companies and retailers comply with ATF regulations, expressed optimism following the meetings. So whereas the gun violence prevention groups expressed concern. So
I was going to say the article said that the Mother's Demand stuff was there, and they were none too thrilled, apparently.
That's good news.
That's always good news.
That is good news if they're not happy.
Well, I want to know who those groups are that were there and that were excited about what they were seeing.
I'd assume the NSSF would be one, but who knows? I mean, I'd
assume the Second Amendment Foundation and the NRA would have been there, but again,
they don't say anything about who it was. So, I mean, if it's some group that masquerades as a gun rights group, but really they're a Bloomberg funded organization, then that's really not good news. Then
no, I think the guns.com article would have pointed that out if that was the case. White House puts four pro-gun attorneys in the Justice Department.
Was one of them Adam Kraut?
Not yet. No word on what Donald Trump has nominated Adam Kraut for.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Adam Kraut, Supreme Court Justice. Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing on this one. I mean, it's good, I guess.
Well, one of the people that he appointed, the whole reason why he got appointed, at least from what I read from the article, was because he said the Second Amendment is how we defend all of our other rights. And this guy, his opening statement at this meeting that he was found in was, I don't really know anything about guns. I've shot one 3 times.
Well, and that kind of is going to get into my point on the next article, but yeah.
All right, let's slide into the next one. Oregon passes bill to seize guns without due process.
The judge in California that put the temporary injunction on the magazine ban said it best when he said that the Second Amendment is being, and I'm paraphrasing obviously, but is being treated like a second-class right. And like you mentioned just a second ago, the Second Amendment is how we protect all the others. It should be at least equal to all the other rights, if not more important, because without the Second Amendment, you just have a piece of paper that says you have the right to do something. Does nothing without the arms to back it up.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is a gateway piece of legislation because, hey, we don't have to have them here to take away their rights because it's a domestic violence issue. Well, what happens when it's another issue and they're going, oh, but for the children?
Can you imagine if the police knocked on your door and said, hey, so your girlfriend filed a complaint against you, and we're going to take your computer and your phone and your tablet until we can get this settled out because we don't want you posting dirty things about her on Facebook. Can you imagine the uproar that would cause? But no, because it's about guns, nobody cares.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right.
That's just how it is. And the sad thing is, everyone wants to go, it's for safety. But freedom is dangerous. And to go ahead and just take people's rights away because someone said something, and after we prove or disprove that they did it, you can have your rights back, is ridiculous.
No, but we have to keep people safe. That's why we make you wear your seatbelt. That's why we try to keep you from smoking. That's why.
Well, just imagine the cops showing up at your place of work, taking the keys to your car and impounding your car because you told your coworker you're going to the bar tonight and getting slammed.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's infringing on your rights. And yeah, the Second Amendment kind of keeps people off the rest of your amendments. But here's the thing. Being a citizen is being responsible. You have to pay attention to this because that's your job as a citizen. And most people don't. And that's how this happens.
Yeah, exactly. Due process is one of those things that it's a very slippery slope. Like, where does it end? I mean, we saw this same argument come up with the no-fly, no-buy, what was it, a year or two ago?
Yeah.
And where does it end?
Well, they passed it in Jersey. If you're on a terrorist watch list, you can't get a firearm.
That doesn't surprise me in Jersey.
Exactly. But people go, well, how does this happen? One state at a time. One state at a time.
How this happens, it's not the legislators' fault. Those idiots exist in society no matter what. The fault is the people that voted for those people and think that because they did one little good thing over here, they should be voted back into office, or they don't show up to vote because the other guy's going to vote for them.
Yep. Be a responsible citizen. Being a responsible citizen means paying attention to this boring, sticky, stinky political stuff that you really have to hold your nose and pull a lever when you go to vote. But you really have to pay attention and start on a local level because that's where this came from. This is not federal. This is not vote for Trump and then sit on your butt. This was local stuff that got to this point. And now your rights are gone.
You bring up a good point, Tony. And one of the big problems is a lot of people like Trump won. Oh, we won. Our rights are safe. And that's nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, was the Trump presidency a win? Arguably, yes, for gun rights. But That being said, this is not the time to sit on your butt and just, oh, well, we won. We got 4 years to cruise by.
Yeah, actually, this is the time to stomp the gas and start pushing to get all of those rights back. Let's swing this sucker back to at least the late 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like push it really hard. I mean, aim for the late 60s, and maybe if we get past, you know, the whole you can buy new machine guns thing, that would be kind of cool too.
I'd like a belt fed.
You got to take it at least to the 50s for Illinois because they passed the Floyd card in Illinois in the 60s. So.
Yeah, okay.
But look at California and what happened there. They had all kinds of bad legislation coming, and then they had Cal Guns and a whole bunch of other groups show up and pass out flyers and petitions and all kinds of stuff. But still, that stuff got passed anyways because nobody got up off their butts to say no.
No, they had 300 and some odd thousand petitions signed, I think is what it was. And there's an estimated like 15 million gun owners in California. I mean, I was upset with gun owners when that all happened.
I hate to say it, but they earned what they got.
And see, that's the annoying part, because as someone who lives in a not gun-friendly state that puts a lot of effort in, and you sit there and you watch you and your people who believe in the same thing as you hustle really hard, get out, get word out, do your thing, and then like 900,000 people don't do anything. It's like, what am I doing this for? It has to be done. It has to be that fight. But people, your rights are always on the line. We've gone from 1920, where you could order a belt fed to be dropped off at your house by the postman, to where we are today. And it's like they did that one law at a time.
Yeah.
But it was a good first step, though, Tony. It was a good first step.
You know, you hear stories of like letters being lost in the mail for like 80 years. Maybe my great grandfather ordered a belt fed and it got lost in
One could only hope.
Great Grandpa Challen ordered a Maxim machine gun and it finally showed up.
Honey, you got a Thompson sub in the mail today.
I don't know what an M1917 is, but there's one on the front door.
Jake's down at Home Depot looking for an adapter for the water cooler on his machine gun. How do I do this? Do I pour it directly in?
Is this normal pipe thread?
Just run it through a pool filter. So Tony, you made a really good point. You said your rights, and this is not, since like 1920, our gun rights have been eroding. But it's not just our gun rights; it's all rights, because ever since people started saying, that guy shouldn't be able to do that, there should be a law against that. We should have a law for that. And it's ever since we started putting all these laws on the books for the last 100 years now, all of our rights have eroded, not just gun rights. And it's more of a problem with the culture, problem with the way we think, I think, than
it's part of being
what it is, or anti-gun.
No, what it's part of being civilized. And that civilization has pretty much become, let someone else take responsibility for what you do. You know what I mean? Let the government step in and stop all the bad things from happening. Well, we were a bunch of independent people that made things happen, that traveled from one side of a continent to the other. And we got there before government did. People created these towns. They wrestled wilderness and tamed it, and then made it happen. And then generation after generation just became softer and softer. And now we can't do anything. There ought to be a law against that guy cutting his grass at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. No, you should go down and talk to him. And if he doesn't, you get with a couple of neighbors and you guys talk to him. I mean, you handle it yourself, but we've let the government take our place. And every time you pass a law, you make it okay for an armed police officer to go and enforce that law, no matter how petty it is. but now you have the potential for an armed confrontation over a little law. And if maybe people looked at every law like it could turn into an armed confrontation, they'll back off going, there should be a law. You know what I mean?
Well, three things here, Tony. First off, you're dead right on that. I was reading a post on Facebook yesterday about a park in the community that I work in. Some kids were out beating the tar out of some of the stuff there, and somebody was saying we need to have more patrols. And one of the sheriff's deputies came on and said, the problem is we don't have enough people to patrol that. Even if we did have somebody there 24/7, we wouldn't catch all of it. He said the real issue is nobody talks to anybody anymore. Nobody goes and talks to those kids' parents and say, your kids are being little a-holes and you need to keep them under control. They just ignore it and call the police and expect the police to take care of it.
Yep, I did my part. I called 911.
Well, two things. People are authoritarian by nature. I mean, if you go back in history, people have always wanted to impose their ideas on someone else. The other problem you have, like you mentioned, Tony, is every time you pass a law, you're inviting an armed person to enforce that. So if you go back several years to the Eric Green incident where everyone's like, oh, he was murdered by the police for selling cigarettes. No, he was resisting arrest. But if you didn't pass stupid laws about ridiculous taxes on stupid cigarettes, and a person with a gun wouldn't have to enforce these stupid legislation.
And that's the problem.
Well, and the other thing, one of the other points I was going to hit is you look every time something bad happens, there's an emotional knee-jerk reaction. There needs to be a law. We need to stop this. We need to prevent that. And the reality of it is you either have 100% safe society, which will never exist no matter what you do, or you have freedom where you have risks and everybody can be equally prepared for those risks.
Again, being a citizen takes responsibility.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You can pledge your support for this show. Go on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge to support Pro Gun Radio. You can pledge for as little as $5 per episode. You can also pledge at the after show level to hang out with us after every other episode. Head on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge to support Pro Gun Radio like This Week in Guns. First half of 2017 garners the second highest number of background checks in history.
This is interesting. Who's like?
Go ahead.
All the major not all, but several major manufacturers are offering like stupid steep discounts right now on guns, which leads me to believe that gun sales are down. But then right here we have this background check numbers up. I'm just wondering, is this a disconnect between the manufacturers and distributors, or?
I have no idea, because I've been listening to these podcasts for a while and everyone's saying there's a slump. Industry's down by 17%, 25%. And people saying like everybody that wanted a gun already has a gun. Not true at all. Not true at all. I have an 18-year-old that just started working for me. And he's talking about buying his first AR right now. You know what I mean? And his best friend and him are going to go get their firearms ID cards in New Jersey, and one wants a shotgun and one wants an AR. So no, everybody that wants a gun does not have a gun. The firearm industry has to get off their ass. They've been lucky, and they've had people running to them, flocking to them for firearms for the last 8 years. Well, now they're going to have to do what every other industry does and hustle for customers. There are only 100 million armed Americans. There are another 200 million Americans that don't own a gun. Get busy. There's a huge market. Quit whining and waiting for people to come rushing to you and say, take my money. Go create a customer base.
Well, and I have to wonder how much of that is the AR-15 market has dropped off, but now people are going, well, gosh, it's really fun to have this AR. What is this revolver sitting underneath the glass over here? What is this, side-by-side shotgun on the wall over here, or this bolt action, that looks like my grandpa's gun? That would be really fun to have.
Well, that's what it is. People are starting to go buy more fun guns and for different reasons. I mean, I host a diversity shoot. I have new people every other month come out that don't own a gun, and I introduce them to firearms. So could we keep saying that, everybody who wants a gun owns one? Because that's not true.
Well, maybe, and I don't know how, if this, I haven't looked at the numbers. Could this have something to do with the universal background checks that have passed in certain states, that maybe there's more private sales going on, and that's why the NICS checks are up?
Well, you do know NICS checks, that's just a federal background check, right? Pennsylvania doesn't have NICS checks.
Correct.
Pennsylvania goes to the state.
It's a point of contact state, right?
Yeah, so it's like, how many really, I mean, is it really down, or just some states sell and not reporting it? I have no idea. I don't know the industry like that, but I'm thinking there's still a lot of people who don't own a firearm, like a third of the country.
So,
I mean, 2/3 of the country.
Right.
Yeah, let's move
I think Steven's on a good. Yep, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Zane.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, I think Steven's on the right track about maybe it's other guns than what's been popular. But yeah.
So moving on to gun stock slide after American Outdoor Brands earnings report. So it's American Outdoor Brands is Smith & Wesson's parent company. It forecasted that they will have as much as a 17% dip in earnings next year. Sturm Ruger and Vista Outdoor dipped 8.2% and 3% respectively. Shares have also dropped for American Outdoors brand. And, like you were just saying, a lot of these big companies are forecasting a downturn. So
yeah.
Well, you could buy a Shield last month for like $280 with a $75 mail-in rebate. So,
I think a lot of deals are being made, but yeah, they got to hustle. They have to step it up. They have to create new customers. That Smith & Wesson 2.0. Get out there, make it happen. I don't know. Some revolvers, some lever actions, some different things. You're going to have to appeal to different people.
What was the price on that Delton that you posted last week, Jake?
It was like $299, wasn't it? Or it was.
It was $3 and some change. It was like $3.50.
Yeah, maybe it was $350. Yeah, that was my question. Yeah. That was my question. Are we going to see ARs under $300 here?
I'm going to date myself a little bit, but I'm going to date myself a little bit. I turned 18 in 2004 at the right at the sunset of the assault weapons ban, and I completely remember $200 and $300 AKs and $1,200 ARs, and the market has completely reversed on that in a pretty short 12 years.
A lot of things have changed.
I am.
But yeah, Tony's right. A lot has changed because look what supply and demand has done.
Yeah. There were a bunch of AKs coming in from all over the place. AK kits that, I mean, you couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting an AK. SKSs were like $80-$90 at one time. Mosins were like $75. I mean, there was just a flood of after the Cold War ended. Look at you so cute.
Yeah. Name a big manufacturer who doesn't have an AR on their list right now.
Yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden they said there's money in AR-15s, and they flooded the market. Ruger makes one.
You're gonna see this weed out the bad ARs, though. I hope too, because everyone and their sister makes an AR right now. And
Savage
with the market doing this.
Yeah.
Well, so you think about this. Palmetto State Armory is no longer the cheapest AR on the market.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So another thing to think about here is that all these companies, especially companies like Springfield and Savage and fill in the blank,
Mossberg,
that just launched an AR in the last 3 to 6 months. Think about how they spent a year or more getting their tooling fired up for that production line. And now that production line isn't worth squat, so they have to retool that production line. They probably have warehouses full of parts that they don't need to build guns for. And so
are you insinuating that people aren't in line to buy Springfield Saints? Because
Springfield.
Well, I think you'll see some people like Savage's new lineup. I think you'll see some people go out and buy those just because it's a Savage.
Same people line up and buy.
You're going to see dudes that have been hunting with a Savage 110 for 20 years or 40 years or whatever. They're like, oh, they're offering one of them their assault rifles. Well, let me get one. But that's their market. That's it.
Like, why not? That's what Springfield did. They depended on that. I mean, everybody did. Everybody stepped up into that. And I mean, everybody just didn't have the great ads that Springfield did for their Saint. I mean, I don't even know what they were thinking. Now, I was one of the, and we were talking about it on the Gun and Gear Review podcast. When everybody was getting their Saints for free and getting their ammo for free, and, you know, that 1 week everyone released their videos at the same time, I contacted a range near me, got permission from them to use their Saint, and I put 200 rounds through it, and I compared it to a Smith & Wesson Sport 2. Saint's much smoother shooting gun. I liked it a whole lot better than the Smith & Wesson Sport 2. I think it was a good deal at $800. Now it's even a better deal for lower. I have no idea why they didn't free float it, but now they have. I don't know if it's worth the extra money for free. I think it's $100 difference. Buy it.
I had a student show up to class with one, and I could literally rotate the handguard and barrel about 1/8 of an inch.
Really? I didn't have that problem with that one. It was tight. Because Matt showed me his. Matt showed his online. Matt.
Are they letting Remington build them?
All right, moving on.
Listen, I'm still waiting for my.
Moving on.
I'm still waiting for my 300 blackout barrel from Remington for my ACR.
Well, check it for rifling. I hear that's been hit and miss lately.
All right, Vista Outdoor CEO heads into early retirement. So I find this pretty funny. This reminds me of.
Do you blame him?
The Facebook meme that says, "F it, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
So, he sees some tough times ahead for his company. He's like, "Yeah,
Daddy's going out to buy cigarettes."
I don't think we need to beat this one to death. I think it speaks for itself.
Daddy gonna go get some cigarettes, kids. I'll be right back.
Pretty much.
It's over with. Bye.
So yeah, Vista Outdoors probably looking for a new CEO. So
I'll do it.
There you go, Tony, CEO of Vista Outdoor Brands. Colt named in $500,000 breach of contract suit after reducing production.
Has there been any good news with the name Colt in it for the last 5 years?
We've covered nothing.
5 years, try 50.
We've covered nothing but positive news about Colt. What are you talking about?
They're going bankrupt. They're losing their contracts. Nothing new. It just like piles up on them.
So Colt failed to, I guess, produce a minimum purchase order, and they failed to make a final payment of $500,000, according to a complaint filed in Connecticut federal court last month. So it says they contracted to Colt contracted out manufacturing for these rifles and parts to Bold Ideas through a Texas manufacturer in November of 2015. But Bold Ideas sold all accounts later that year, and that included Colt to Prestige
Capital.
So yeah, it seems like, I don't know, they kind of fumbled a few business decisions there, and now they're in court.
So they subbed the contract out, and the sub in turn subbed it out again, and somebody's pissed off.
Yep.
So wait a minute. So I can find the company that was making that awesome Colt Expanse, or what was that? What was the name of that gun? The cheap Colt. They thought that was a good idea to cheapen their own product name. How'd that work out? That's like those old Mercedes-Benz 190Es. That was a bad idea. And so was this. It didn't sell well. Just saying.
I've got an old school 6920, and I absolutely love it, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, this is not even a cult. This is just made by someone else.
Yeah. Does it say, Jake, does it say who they breached their contract with? Like, is this a government contract or?
No, this is B2B. This is just business stuff.
So because I'm gonna say a $500,000, like, to me and you sounds like a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, that's really not.
Well,
at least I wouldn't think for a manufacturer like Colt. Well, that's true. Colt is bankrupting apparently.
Well, you know what's funny though, right?
Depends what week it is.
You know what's funny about this? This is a New Jersey story. This company's out of New Jersey, the Financial Farm. Yeah, Jersey's been chasing Colt out since Colt opened up his first plant in Patterson back in the 1800s. We've been kicking Colt's ass, and we're still doing it. And also this year, Colt, New Jersey sued SIG for the guns they gave to the state police that didn't work. The SIG 229s that sucked.
Right. Yeah.
So Jersey hates all gun manufacturers. Run fast, run far.
All right. Moving on. Bill Busbus. I'm not sure how to say his last name. Bill Bustus, guilty of poaching, fired from TV show. Apparently, this guy was a pretty big star on the Outdoor Channel's Wild Game Nation. He's sentenced for elk poaching in Wyoming. And
that's like a common thing on that channel.
It doesn't surprise me.
Poaching?
Yeah, it's not the first one from an outdoor network that I've read about getting busted for poaching.
So
no, and I've read numerous reports of, like, on the television show, how they exaggerate their ranges and exaggerate all this stuff. So it's not a huge step for telling your audience, oh, he's at 800 yards and he's really at 300 yards. It's not a huge step to go from that to, well, he might be on the neighbor's property, but we got a great shot right now, so press the trigger.
Well, and reading through some of the comments on these stories, a lot of people are like, yeah, that guy was a terrible shot. I'm not surprised. and other comments like, they're like, through editing magic, they're like switching out what gun he actually uses and stuff too. I'm like,
wow.
Well, supposedly in this case, it sounds like he had shooter's remorse. He was supposedly hunting some private property, and I think he owned it, but I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, he shot a cow, and then along came a bull that they've been watching. And he decided he needed to have the bull instead of the cow. So they left the cow lying in the ditch and went after the bull and got the bull. And one of the neighbors saw it and turned him in.
Yeah, left it there to rot.
Yeah.
Because the bull looks way better for television than a cow.
Yeah.
Well, let me go ahead.
If this was a televised hunt or not, but,
they videotaped it. They have it on tape.
Yeah, they had a camera crew there that they used that in court. So I think they may have been filming this for the show. I don't know. He at least had guys with cameras there.
Yeah, it didn't say whether it was filmed for the show or not, but
it was filmed.
Yeah, it was filmed. And here's my shock. Here's my shocked face that somebody on reality TV ended up being a scumbag. It's sorry, but you put them on camera, everybody wants to be a hero. So you do whatever it takes. And if you're a piece of crap, you're a piece of crap, and it's going to come through. Sorry.
How many gun reality show people have,
exactly been in trouble?
All of them?
Yeah.
Because, again, that's the kind of person that will sign up for a reality show. You think these are really good people to say, hey, I'm going to meet a stranger and I'm going to marry them in 3 weeks on a TV show? No, these are wackos. And these are the same people, these hunting shows. Hey, listen, if it's a slow day, we're going to create some stuff and write a script. You're going to go with it? Oh, yeah, sure. I'll do anything because I want to be successful. You know what I mean?
I got my application in for the real world. I'm putting a lot of my eggs in the MTV basket.
Nice.
Well, what's funny is even out west here, I mean, I can walk out onto a ridge and I can look out and I can see till you can see the earth curve in some of the places around here. And I've been into parts of the wilderness around here that it's just you only have to ask yourself, when was the last time a human being walked here? And still people get caught poaching because they don't pay attention.
Yeah, I hunt a little bit, and when I do occasionally, I try to be as ethical as I can, follow the rules. I don't know. I just don't understand. I guess it's a thrill of the kill, maybe. I don't know. I just don't understand why you would risk everything. I mean, there's a 12-point buck that walks in front of my house occasionally, but I'm not risking shooting him to lose everything. So
simple.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how simple it is. I'm not going to get caught.
Right.
That's how you can risk everything.
Till you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you're right.
You're not as alone as people think they are out there. I mean, it feels like you're alone, but there's somebody on that other ridge over there, and they're watching you.
Oh, there's satellites. You're always being watched.
you don't need satellites. You have Facebook. They'll break the law and then take a picture and post it. You don't
Exactly.
need that.
True
This
story.
idiot videotaped. He videotaped himself creating the crime, and they use it as evidence against him. Yeah, all you have is Facebook, and people do it to themselves.
Yeah, no, and there's been poaching cases solved because somebody will post a picture of a buck, say, I shot it over here, and then somebody else will bring out their trail camera and show it to the Fish and Game and say, look at that buck. It's suspiciously in two areas at the same time. And they'll get busted for it.
Oh, I'm offended.
It happens all the time.
We're to the I'm offended section. I'm not necessarily offended. Somebody here is. Indiana firefighter shoots neighbor. Right. You guys probably saw the Facebook video of this.
Like 400 times.
This is the Facebook video where it looks like somebody just dropped the camera in the garden and it was filming.
It sounded to me like the dude knew something was going to go down, so he set the camera up to kind of cover his butt.
There was obviously a feud between these two neighbors because he greets him by saying, "What's up, a-hole?" and then asks him if his, I don't know if I can use that word, I don't want to get timestamped, but his woman of casual morals was out. And they're literally crap talking each other right up until the shooting takes place. So there's obviously a feud between these dudes.
The news article said like 12 years.
Yeah.
So
my thing, so I am offended by this. And my thing is not because he shot him or this, that, and the other, and he's not going to face charges or whatever. My thing is he pressed the trigger off 12, 13 times, and then dude stands up and was like, "Oh, bro, why'd you have to shoot me like that?" and like walks off like. And I just and we talked about it a little bit before the show started, but it irritates me so bad at how many people will strap a lethal device to their belt every day and have no idea how to use it, have never taken a decent training class, and just go up because that gun's going to protect them.
Yeah. Well, and it shows in the article, they tell you the dude got hit in the chest 4 times and he gets up, swears, and walks out of the frame. Like, like it's a normal every morning occurrence.
Well,
he wasn't hit very well in the chest.
No, obviously the guy used 9mm. That's why he was able to walk off.
Really? We're gonna do that?
That's
it must have been 380 because
what
it
we're
just
gonna
bounced
do.
off him.
Thanks.
It was
my
9mm.
My inbox is already filling up.
If he would have had a 45, not only would it have killed him, it would have stole his soul right there on camera. So
right.
You would have seen it evaporate before your very eyes.
Of course, he would have had to do like 3 reloads to shoot that many rounds with a 1911, but still, that's not the point.
Well, and also, and I watched it several times, and it's kind of hard to tell, but it almost looks like he goes for the gun, pauses, and then continues his draw stroke. So I don't know if that was lack of training, like didn't know what was going on, or if something clicked in his head like, hey, that guy had a gun. I'm legally justified in finally shooting this dude. So, and I don't want to say that's what happened. the firefighter, the guy was carrying about 4 o'clock, and dude on lawnmower had his gun in his pocket.
I thought the firefighter dude had it in his rear pocket, or right about.
It may have been. I thought I saw a holster. I haven't watched it in a couple days, but I'm pretty sure I saw a holster. Right about 4:30.
The neighbor that got shot, that wasn't even his gun, and that's not even his house. He's staying with the lady next door, and he stole that gun out from under her pillow, and she even said he was not allowed to have that firearm. So I think that's partly why they have let the firefighter off the hook, besides the video.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying my arc of the story that I just kind of gave is what happened. I just because he may have been slow on the draw, just because obviously he's not well trained based on his firing 12 shots at just slightly past bad breath distance. But
well, also understand you can't condense 12 years of bickering and fighting into a couple of minutes and going, this is exactly what happened. No, this goes way back. And this was a problem for a while, and that's just what.
Oh yeah. I'm sure that was not the police first time at that address.
No, they've been around before. No. This time ended up in critical condition.
They'd been neighbors for more than 12 years, and the police had been out there for at least 12 years, and they had arrested both of them. I don't remember if it was the same incident or separate instances, but they had arrested both of them for battery involving the other one.
Wow.
And in one of them, there was a knife involved. So these guys...
Yes, well, I'm going to tell you like this. You pull a gun out of your pocket and make menacing, gestures, there's a good chance I'm going to burn you down too. But, like you were saying, we don't know the whole story here, but... I mean, it looks like good guy prevailed at face value, but there's so much below the surface on this.
Well, I also watched it, and one thing that really kind of sort of made me laugh about something that might cost a guy's life, but it was still kind of funny. He was shooting like the fence was solid. He had to shoot over it. You could stick your head through the holes in that fence. He could have shot him through it. He might have hit him more. But it was like it was an IPSC competition, and he couldn't shoot through the fake wall. It's really weird.
So
can't shoot through the orange construction tape.
Yeah, that was it. The orange construction tape. He couldn't shoot through it because that represents the wall.
So my question was he filming it because he knew what was going to happen and he knew he was going to need a way to clear himself, or was he filming it because he knew the guy was a jerk and he needed to cover his butt?
I think it's probably most of column B. Most of column B, but it could have been some of column A.
I'm strongly suspicious of both.
So at the bottom, the last time I watched it, at the very bottom, the camera is time-stamped and dated, and it has a name. I can't remember its name, but I want to say it's like Covert Yard Back or something like that. So that leads me to believe there's several cameras around his property.
Yeah.
Just the fact that the camera had a name. So the answer to the question, I guess, would be yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you get arrested multiple times because you have to deal with your a-hole neighbor, yeah, maybe you do put cameras in and you record everything that happens, because who knows what they do. I had a neighbor used to throw dirty diapers over into our backyard because they didn't feel like throwing them out. That was annoying. And sometimes you just, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah. Poopy kid diapers thrown in your backyard? Oh, yeah.
That's, I mean, when I think New Jersey, I just imagine a poopy diaper, honestly.
I'm thinking that's a biological weapon attack.
Oh, I did too, and I retaliated, but let's not talk about that. They moved.
Statute of limitations.
I won. They moved. That's all that needs to be said. Next story.
All right. You can contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping our Amazon affiliate link. You can click the Amazon banners on firearmsradio.tv. Just go to the Firearms Radio website, click any of those Amazon banners, links, etc. And it doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps us out. It helps Pro Gun Radio. A small portion of your sale goes to supporting us, and you still get the same great deals on Amazon, but you help shows like This Week in Guns while you do it. You can also bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We are to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about, and other crazy stuff. Each of the hosts picks a story here to call their own. So,
all right, I'll go.
All right.
I read the first story. Go ahead, guys. Whatever you want.
I'm going to go with, as much as the first story intrigues my curiosity, I'm going to go with soldier charged in his part for failed Humvee drop.
You love that.
So I was in the Marine Reserves, and I was lucky enough to be at an Anglo unit, so I was airborne in that unit, and we dropped a lot of stuff out of airplanes during training. But I have never seen anything so majestic as a Humvee falling to its death, and not to mention 2 more to follow that. It was a beautiful video, and I don't know what they're charging him with. I mean, the guy obviously screwed up his rigging, but I mean, does anyone really think that he was like, you know what? F these guys. I'll show them. I'm going to drop their Humvees. Like, I mean, the dude obviously needs to be taken out to the wood line and have a stern talking to. But I mean, I don't know. It's a great. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, as someone who was in the Marine Corps, also Marine Corps Air Wing, no less, and they're the ones that strap the stuff into the planes, and they fly the planes, and they drop the stuff from the planes. Let me just say, freedom boner, just straight up.
This is probably why my unit typically dropped like a 500-gallon water jug, like with parachutes attached to it, because they didn't want this exact thing to happen. I'm just gonna go on a limb and guess that. But.
Okay, here's the thing. If you don't know about the Marine Corps, we break stuff as entertainment. It's just...
Now, to be fair, this was the Army who did this.
Yeah, we would have done a lot better job than that.
We would have probably broke 5.
Oh yeah, but it's just funny because he was like, oh my goodness, but then the idiot went and uploaded it. So might have gotten away with it if you didn't make it a YouTube sensation. Good job, you got a lot of hits, and you're an E1 now.
Oh, and they were excited about it. I mean, in the video, you can hear him just enjoying it very much when those Humvees burned in. And I'm not going to lie, I'd probably been just as ecstatic watching those Humvees burn in because it was exciting. And I mean, I've seen dudes burn in kind of hot, and it was, they didn't get hurt, but it was like, hey, man, you burned in pretty hot back then. So,
So next story, sale on government surplus Humvees.
don't look up the Carfax report on it because it might need some body work.
Light body damage.
Light body damage. It'll buff out.
Highway miles.
Oh God, that's
only.
great. Garage kept.
Slight off-road use.
Hey, you can use that in your Gambler 500, Jake.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect. All right, Tony, what do you got?
Oh, I want to so do this. Google Home device stops domestic dispute by calling the police. So everyone thinks it's really a great idea to get this government spy put in your house called like Google. Google Home devices. What's the name of one of these things? I forget.
Alexa.
Yeah. Hey, Alexa, dime me out to the police when I'm arguing with my chick and I pull a gun on her, Alexa. And Alexa calls and says, hey, Eduardo has lost his stuff and is pointing a gun at his woman. Call SWAT. He got swatted by something he was paying a monthly fee for. Good job, stupid. So, of course, the guy has an argument with his wife, pulls out a gun, and Alexa goes, oh, watch this. Hello, SWAT team. And what happened? So they came and arrested him, and, of course, he was a felon already. I guess no background checks for him. And now they're talking about how it may be a problem because no one really called the 911. What?
But Tony, it's illegal for felons to have guns.
Yeah, so we really need to pass more background check laws to stop this from. Actually, I guess we should just put Alexa in everyone's house, and if you commit a crime with a gun, you go to jail.
I refuse to have. My brother has that in his house, and his kids. It literally the only reason they have it is so it gives his kids something to do, someone to talk to. I think.
Wow, hire a nanny.
Hire
a nanny. It takes a couple of things. One, you'll learn a foreign language, and two, your kids will have their first sexual experience with them eventually. So either hire a hot one or an ugly one. You hire a hot one, that's just aimed way too high, and the kid's going to top out at like 15. Hire like an ugly one. Hire an ugly one with a facial mold, and anything hotter than that will be like just butter. I'm just saying, as a strategy. I'm strategizing. I'm using strategery.
Moving on.
So you haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire.
I will be writing a book about how to raise your children the right way. It'll be on Amazon.
Use our affiliate link. All right, Steve.
So the one that caught my eye because it intrigued me right away was the CEO for Anheuser-Busch, and had a police encounter while intoxicated while trying to fly his helicopter. And the first thing I'm thinking is the dude's getting pulled over by a police helicopter as he's trying to land his helicopter or something. But I guess he was trying to get in it and couldn't make things happen, and couldn't keep his mouth shut, and wound up telling the cop that he had a gun on him. And then they wound up searching the helicopter, and they found prescription pills and more guns. So,
it's hysterical. If you guys got to read this article because they gave him a breathalyzer, and he blew 0.000 and nothing. But then he kept talking and kept acting goofy. And they were like, "Sir, are you under the influence of something?" And and then he started like running around, flapping his arms, saying, "I'm having a panic attack," or something like that. and,
wow. See,
and so no, you got to hear what handgun he was carrying.
Oh God!
Did you see? Did you guys see what handgun he was carrying?
I missed that part.
This is a gun that we talked about when it came out at SHOT Show and stuff, and we were like,
"Please be an R51. Please be an R51.
Please be a Taurus Curve." Taurus Curve. What was
you
it?
Find it yet? No, I want you guys to find it.
It's an R9.
It's the roar ball. I can never say it right.
The Robar?
Yeah, I can't say it either.
Robar, how do you say it?
So it's got that goofy action.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. The Roar Ball?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, Bond Arms just bought that entire design.
Oh, did they?
And they're putting it out. Yeah, and they're putting it
out. Yeah, they did. Who gets pulled over in a helicopter? Like, how have you screwed up so bad in life that you're getting stopped in your helicopter?
Hey, look, that guy was really lucky because he didn't get pulled over by the same cop that pulled over Philandro Castillo, because this would have ended in a total different way. I'm just saying.
So when officers searched the helicopter, they found pepper spray. Well, they found 4 different prescriptions. Apparently, he had 2 and his wife had 2. Some of them were tranquilizers. Some were Xanax, Clozapine.
Wow.
So
every soccer mom in North America is on Xanax.
Right. So found pepper spray, a Ruger 22, a Ruger 357 Magnum, and a Glock 357. All of them loaded.
Wow. Wait a minute. You were making fun of the friggin' Roy Ball? He had Glock 357 SIG, dude. Come on.
Listen, I have a Glock 357. It was a bad time in my life. It's converted to shoot 9mm at this point.
Dude, the only thing he didn't have was a 45 gap.
Right. He has that at home in his nightstand.
No, he's got one in a shadow box over his fireplace.
Jake,
okay,
what you got?
Everybody did one.
No, come on. The best part of what he had in his chopper, he had 8 dogs.
What?
I forgot about the dogs.
What size chopper is this?
Yeah, what was it? CH-53? What was this?
No, from the picture, it's a pretty good sized helicopter.
Yeah, it's pretty hysterical. That was mine, so I gotta figure out.
Okay, I got one. I got one.
All right,
Come
go
on.
ahead.
Let me go. Man arrested after Star Wars versus Star Trek argument turns into a knife fight.
I feel like this had to happen in Florida. I didn't read the article, but I feel like
it happens in Oklahoma City.
Oh, thank God it wasn't Florida.
I'm like, wait a minute, what? So a guy, 23 years old, and his roommate begin a debate over whether Star Wars or Star Trek was a better movie franchise.
They might as well have titled this Two Virgins.
I'm like, one, there wouldn't have been a debate, but these last movies that came out with the Star Wars trilogy kind of put them over the top and I think made them better. But there's nothing to fight with a knife about and go to jail over. One started choking the other one, and since he was fearing for his life, he reached for a nearby pocket knife located on a nightstand and started stabbing him. So that's what the whole altercation was about, was fighting over Star Wars versus Star Trek. So one was taken into custody and the bond is set at $4,000. Geeks.
Those are those out of space shows, right?
What was that?
Those are those shows that are based out in space.
Shut your ignorant mouth. This is just real sad. Yeah, it was like dueling virgins choking each other. All I'm seeing is what's the name of that show with Sheldon and Kuchar and all of those guys? Well, like all of them are scientists, but they're geeks. This is just looks like the fight you'd see on that television show. It's ridiculous.
You can pledge your support for This Week in Guns. You can head on over to firearmsradio.tv/pledge. You can pledge for as little as $5 per episode to support pro-gun radio like This Week in Guns. Head on over to Patriot Patch Company, where you can still sign up in time for the Patch of the Month Club to get the July Patch of the Month. Also,
that's a pretty sweet patch.
Awesome. Yeah. That's an awesome patch. Actually, I'm going to finally stop BS and join up just so I can get that patch and set on it for a year and raffle it off.
And you can also get the t-shirts, t-shirt version of this. Those are up for pre-order. So check it out, patriotpatch.co. Also check out the cleaning mats over there. Got an AK-47 cleaning mat, AR-15 cleaning mats. patriotpatch.co. Well, this is the part of the show where we see what these guys are up to and where you can connect with them online. Tony, what's up?
You can connect with me online. What I'm up to is Diversity Shoot. The second is for everyone Diversity Shoot. It's where I go and get people from every background to come to the range. If you're not even a gun person, never shot a gun in your life, you come out to one of our events. We introduce you to real firearms owners. We introduce you to Second Amendment groups like the NRA, ILA. We have raffles. We give away free swag donated by a lot of industry companies. And then we have food, and we shoot tons of guns at Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park. We have over 200 rental guns of all types that are free that night. All you have to do is buy range ammo or shoot everybody else's firearms, including the lever action that Henry gave us, the Golden Boy Youth model, really hot, or the revolver that I have. That work was done by Patriot Gun Polishing Company. We have a lot of fun. We shoot guns. You learn about your rights. We even give you paperwork to get your Jersey Firearms ID card. We do everything we can to get informed firearm owners, and you can follow us on The Second is for Everyone on Facebook, Simon Says Train on Facebook and Instagram, or you can go on diversityshoot.com and give a donation or buy our new limited edition t-shirts that are only going to be out until the end of August. Thank you very much for the time and the invite, Jake. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tony. So Zane, what's up? And Can people connect online with you? Do you
Yes,
do you allow
they
that?
can. Yes, they can connect online with me. If you go to facebook.com/Zane2A, that's my instructor page. That's where I post classes and links to news stories and whatnot. On the Instagrams and all this stuff. You can also catch me on Tuesdays on the Gun and Gear Review podcast with Tony most of the time. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Steven, what's up with the Off-Road Podcast? Where can people connect online?
You can find us on all the social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Ben monitors most of that. All of us kind of hijack the Facebook page, but Off-Road Podcast on Facebook. And Aaron and Ben are headed back out to Oregon for the Gambler with the stink bug, so they're going to have that out there. So if you're in the Oregon area, look for them cruising through the neighborhood. Have you guys seen the stink bug?
So
Have not.
Describe the stink bug for us.
The stink bug is a new style beetle that Aaron lifted in his garage with, I think it was just him, a drunk troll, and a welder. And they lifted this thing and put larger tires on it, more lights on it, and some kind of a brush bumper on the front.
And
I want to see it.
And they have like a road sign for a skid plate, right?
Yep. Road sign, skid plate on the front underneath it. It's really nice looking. It has some drivability on the highway issues, I think, because of the homemade lift. But they said it did very well when they did the Washington Gambler. So out in the dirt, it seems to do good.
It's almost too nice for a gambler.
Yeah. When you watch the Gambler videos, if you go to YouTube and type in the Gambler and pull up those videos, you'll see it's very nice compared to most of those.
And Firearms Radio Network, being myself and Hank, will be participating in the Iowa Gambler coming up in August here, and then the Illinois Gambler coming up at the end of September. So if you guys want to have some fun, all you need is a cheap $500-ish car, or any car. It doesn't matter. You can drive your wife's car if you want.
If you want to get divorced.
500 miles, 2 days, as much off-road as we can, a lot of on-road too, but just having an adventure, having a fun time. So,
yeah, and they're literally driving. I've seen fire trucks. They had the Gambulance. It was an old ambulance. They had Honda Civics. There was a Cadillac Eldorado in one of them.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of vehicles. It just needs to be a pile of crud that you think can barely make it.
Sounds like fun.
Jake, what'd you guys get? You got a Ford Party, didn't you? Ford Fiesta?
No, it's so the ones from the 80s were Festivas. The new ones are Fiestas.
Oh yeah, a Festiva. I remember those.
Yeah, a Festiva. It's actually made by Kia with a Mazda motor with Ford on it.
What happened? You couldn't get a Yugo GT?
A Yugo would be awesome. I paid $120 for this Festiva. I'm going to run this in the Illinois Gambler. I'm looking to put ATV tires on it and just having fun.
I remember the Yugo GT.
$30 a cylinder.
They said the Yugo GT had heated rear window just so when it broke down, your hands be warm when you had to push it.
All right, you can leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this video or on Facebook. Excuse me, on Facebook or on firearmsradio.tv, where we post up the show notes on Friday. You can leave us an iTunes review. Don't forget to contribute using that Firearms Radio Network Amazon affiliate link. For shopping Amazon, just go to firearmsradio.tv, click any of those links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it supports Pro Gun Radio. Well, thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Zane.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yep, you're welcome. It was fun.
That's a wrap. We'll see you next week.